TBISE, the best in sports entertainment. We're here live in Pod Rooms USA. If you ever want to shoot your podcast, reach out to Pod Rooms USA on Instagram at Pod Rooms USA. Also, you can follow TBISE on Instagram at TBISE247. And also, you can subscribe on our YouTube channel at TBISE247 Sports. So this past weekend, we had, an amazing weekend of boxing. We had a lot of good fights. The main event, what I'll speak about today, at this point, we had Tank Davis versus Frank Martin, and Tank showed why he should be on the pound for pound list, if not number one, somewhere in the top 5. Throughout the fight, to just speak a little bit about the fight, just throughout the fight, it showed Tank seemed like he was on his front foot the whole fight. He was on his front foot. I mean, he pressed Frank Martin from rounds 1 through 8. Showed good counter-punching skills, put a lot of pressure on Frank Martin. Frank Martin was, he was game. He threw a lot of punches. He was, actually won a lot of those rounds in the beginning. But once I saw that Tank Davis was on his front foot the whole fight and applying that pressure and wasn't taking more than a half a step back, I said, I thought that was going to end for Frank at some point, maybe at 8 or 9. So he ended up, knocking Frank Martin out, in round 8. But if you look at the actual the fight, and you look at how it played out, it seemed like Tank he kind of predicted what he was going to do. Throughout the whole fight, the press conference, he spoke about Frank Martin not being didn't have the experience. He didn't have the skills. They said it was too early. You heard Coach Calvin say that he thought the fight was too early, and Tank showed why there's levels to this. If you look at Frank Martin's game plan, it seemed like he just was he was trying to outwork Gervonta Tank Davis in the early rounds, but ultimately that was what I believe ended the fight. He was kind of overworking himself. He put a lot of punch output in the beginning, in the earlier rounds, tired himself out, and then you have somebody who's coming at you just with force, meaning backing you up, putting you on the ropes, applying pressure, not on duty, and then ultimately you see that Tank couldn't handle the pressure, which ultimately led to him being knocked out. Now, with Frank being knocked out, now where does Frank Martin go from here? I think that he has to go back to the drawing board, and ultimately he'll probably come back with the tune-up fight. But more importantly, where does Tank Davis go from here? Who do we want to see him fight? A lot of people would say we want to see him fight Shakur Stevenson. I don't think that fight is going to happen next. I don't think that fight is likely to happen. I don't know, because Shakur is going to be a free agent coming up after this fight with Artem. So which would lead to Shakur possibly having to find a new home. I don't think he's going to re-sign with Top Rank, but I think he's going to find a new home, possibly with PBC, maybe with Floyd, maybe other promotions, which would make for a major pay-per-view card if him and Tank was to ever get in the ring. But if that doesn't work with Shakur and Tank, we can look forward to seeing possibly Tank versus Loma. I don't think that fight is going to happen either. The reason being is because Lomachenko doesn't really have control of his career. He's with Bob Arum, and Bob Arum is not in the business of doing business with PBC. So, I don't know where we go from here. What do we see from Tank Davis? What fight will we see next? Leave your comment. TBISE.